Great news, everybody! If you weren't already aware, there's a spin-off American Horror Story show on Hulu named American Horror Stories with an S. And it's basically just a small collection of short stories. Think Black Mirror, but instead it's just a bunch of shortened American Horror Story seasons, and they're all pretty bad. Like, I'm pretty sure this is just a bunch of throwaways that they didn't want to make into full seasons. And if this is the case, then it surprises me, because it would be quite a chore to make anything worse than Apocalypse. I am currently watching their newest season 10 double feature. I might share my thoughts on that later, but for now, I want to talk about American Horror Stories, because oh boy. One of them is about a girl and her family that move into the murder house. Don't you just love it when they just recycle old ideas? Another one is about a forbidden film that kills whoever watches it.
Oh my God!
It was okay, nothing special. There's one about douche tubers like Jake Paul pretty much getting hunted down by Santa. While the idea is hilarious, the execution was horrendous and I hated it. There's one about a stereotypical demon, very boring, and another about cannibals that live in the forest. While all of these are pretty bad, the last episode is so egregiously terrible that it's funny. The episode is called Game Over, and it's about a video game. And not just any video game, a video game about American Horror Story. And yes, it's just as bad, if not worse, than you would imagine.
I told you, dumb bitch, you're gonna die in here.
It starts with Noah Cyrus and her boyfriend being dropped off at the murder house by Steve Harvey. It's not actually Steve Harvey, it just looks like him. Apparently these two are big American Horror Story fans, and they rented out the murder house because I guess it's an Airbnb now. Yeah, it's really weird. In this universe, the show exists alongside the actual events of the show. So like the murder house exists and the show about the murder house exists. It's super meta and I hate it. So they enter the house together and the obligatory creepy stuff starts to happen.
I just want to feel the energy of the house.
These people are American Horror Story fanatics. The guy even cosplays as one of the characters, and it makes Noah Cyrus really horny. Great.
No, leave it on.
Kinky.
So they bang. But the guy comes immediately. Right afterwards, some weird stuff starts to happen, and they think there's a ghost in the house. So Noah Cyrus delivers this very amazing line, "Maybe I can find a ghost that will last more than 2 pumps." They then start to see a lot of references from past seasons. Lots and lots of references. Don't you love it when writers of a product do nothing but rely on references from their past products? So they eventually meet 3 women caged up in the basement. It turns out they were 3 random trick-or-treaters that wanted to have an orgy with the guy from Murder House.
You can give us some candy, but you can also just invite us in for a treat.
So they entered the home and immediately were killed. It's so weird. These women are all in like their mid-20s and they're trick-or-treating and they're just, what, looking for a guy to bang or something? Are they all on Molly? What's going on?
Dilf alert.
Why is it whenever women like this exist in a show, it's almost always a man that writes it? Can you imagine Brad and Ryan sitting in a room like, and then these 3 horniest fuck girls go to the murder house, they knock on the door, and they just really want to fuck this guy, right? They are so horny. So they go in and they're murdered. Oh no! That would be cool. People would love that. So then Noah Cyrus and her boyfriend get attacked by a bunch of random ghosts. A dude with a machete swings too hard and flings himself off the stairs. The boyfriend gets shot in the face, and then eventually Twisty the Clown kills Noah Cyrus. And guess what? It was all a video game? Yeah, so everything you just saw was a video game. And it was all developed by this woman. So I guess she wrote in these 3 horny trick-or-treaters. That's interesting. And she also made the murder house into an Airbnb, wherein the ghosts kill everybody that stays there. So I don't think that would last very long.
Uh-oh.
So there's this woman who's a game developer and her son who's an American Horror Story fanatic, because of course he is. And she's having her son test the game.
These controls suck.
Because I guess she's making the game for him or something. She wants to become closer with her son, so she's making a video game. Like, that's a lot of fucking work just to get closer with your son. Just go on vacation.
You could have just watched it with me.
And the best part is, she doesn't know anything about the show. She hasn't even seen it before. She just knows her son likes it, so she just decided to make a video game. And then she goes on to say that she quit her job, mortgaged her house, and put all of her money into this game. What? It's insane. You'd assume if someone put their entire livelihood on the line, it would be towards a passion project of theirs or something, not just to become closer with their son. She could have saved herself a lot of time and money if she just sat down and watched the show with her son. It's so bad. Imagine being this far into the game development process and you don't even know the source material. It's almost comparable to Netflix's Iron Fist. Find your own interest, lady. Jesus. Her son starts complaining that none of the stuff in the game makes sense. A bunch of the characters are kind of random and they shouldn't be in the murder house. For the mother to have made this game, she must know something about the show. Did she just Google it? And then decide just to like throw a bunch of random characters into the murder house and that's your game? The game is like in its alpha stages right now. So now she decides to watch the show and take notes. Then we get a look at the shitty game during the title screen.
Come on, the graphics are amazing, aren't they?
I have a theory that Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk rely almost entirely on their catchy theme song to get people to watch their stuff. Their show was pretty fun in the beginning, but now they've kind of run out of ideas, so now they're just recycling their old content and using their actual show in their content and play their theme song nonstop in order to trick people, you know? Make them feel some nostalgia for when the show was actually fun. So the murder house exists in the same world as the show. Even though we're outside of the video game, the murder house still exists in the actual world, alongside the show. It's so weird. So the mother has the wonderful idea to go to the murder house, and I guess it's for sale, and she uses her last $100,000 to buy the house! So she can learn more about American Horror Story to make her game better, I guess. Okay, cool, but like, why isn't just watching the show enough? You could just take an afternoon and visit the house and take some notes. You don't have to live there. So weird. She could have saved a lot of money that way. This woman is kind of strange. She's a little bit cuckoo.
But then I get a little sugar in me and I start to go cuckoo.
This woman is stupid in every way. I don't feel bad for her at all. That'd be like if Han Solo was watching Star Wars in his free time in a new show called Star Wars Stories. Doesn't that sound so stupid? That sounds worse than the Star Wars holiday special. So this woman visits her ex-husband's house. Obviously she's divorced because she's a lunatic. She goes there to give her son some extra clothes because she's going to be away for a while. She tells her son that she's going to an American Horror Story convention to ask the creators all about Murder House. Again, why is she doing all this research after she's already made the game? It makes no sense. Her ex-husband tells her that she's delusional, which she is, and she returns fire by saying,
And if I were a man, that would be called drive. Admirable ambition, even.
No, actually. It'd be called lunacy.
Go mentally deranged, yeah?
It'd be called homelessness. Regardless of gender, it's stupid. So the mother goes to the murder house and starts talking to the walls like a normal person.
I am going to make you reveal all your secrets to me.
A little, you know, loopy. Uh-oh.
So there's these two girls from the first two episodes of American Horror Stories. One of them is alive and one of them is dead, and they fell in love while the girl who was alive was living in the murder house. But she no longer lives there, and she comes back every Halloween when her girlfriend gets to leave the house so they can spend the day together, I guess. Yeah, just in case you didn't know, the ghosts in the murder house can only leave the murder house once a year, and that's on Halloween. So yeah, these two girls are just like chilling and talking to each other in a bathtub. Remember that guy that made the 3 trick-or-treater girls super horny? Yeah, well, the mother finds him in the murder house, and he's crying, and this is what he says.
I usually only cry like this after I masturbate.
Pardon?
Damn, post-nut clarity hits everybody differently, I guess. So then he starts like referencing a bunch of characters and events that happened in that season.
Your forever teenage daughter, her boyfriend, and newborn, and your former mistress, all trapped in the same house.
Like, Jesus Christ, what if you never saw it? You'd be so confused. Ryan and Brad are under this assumption that the only people that are watching this stuff are the same people that have been watching from the very beginning, which makes no sense. Like, obviously a lot of them still are, but not all of them are.
It's been 84 years.
So some of them will be very confused. They're just obsessed with their own show, you know? It's so weird. And I'm not saying it's not okay to be prideful of the things that you create, but this episode is basically just an excuse for Ryan and Brad to masturbatorily giggle to themselves about how successful their show is. Like, we get it, guys. You love your show, okay? I think we could have all assumed that. So the mother starts talking to a bunch of the ghosts because that's super normal. Why isn't she freaking out right now? Why isn't she leaving? Whatever, it's just some ghosts. Eventually she's murdered. Good. She had it coming. It's so weird too, because like, why would the ghosts keep killing people that enter the house? When you kill someone that enters the house, their ghost stays there forever. As if this house wasn't cramped already. So then, as a ghost, the mother approaches her son on Halloween the next year. And she's like, yo, I'm here as a ghost. This is totally normal. And her son is not freaked out at the sight of his dead mother. I guess in this world, the show exists and it's also all real and everyone just accepts it. Like, they know all this stuff is happening and it's just cool. Like, ghosts are real and my mom's a ghost now, whatever. Like, he's not scared of her. He's not happy to see her. He's not confused by the fact that she's there all of a sudden. In fact, he's just mad that she was stupid enough to enter the house. You know what? That's fair.
I just wanted to build something special for us. I just wanted to make you proud.
By making a video game?
So obviously it's very tragic that his mom died, right? So it's pretty nice that he's able to see her once every single year for the rest of his life.
Burn that motherfucker to the ground, and I'm more than happy to do the job.
Oh, never mind. He just wants to burn the house down now. American Horror Story was his favorite show, and he wants to burn down this relic from his favorite show because he doesn't want to see his dead mom once a year. If she didn't want to be in the house, then I can see why he would do that. But she's fine being there, you know? So he's just doing it for selfish reasons? I think most people who lost a family member would be really grateful to be able to see them once a year, but not this kid.
Little baby man.
Remember the two girls that were in the bath earlier? Well, obviously they want to keep the house standing because they're in love. And they're all under the assumption that if the house burns down, then all the ghosts will have to leave. So they try to stop the kid from burning down the house. He burns it down anyway, because the rest of the ghosts want to leave the house and they work together to stop the girls from stopping the kid. This kid barely shows any emotion when saying goodbye to his mom for the last time, forever.
Goodbye, Mom.
Bye, my sweet.
He only seems to care when he starts watching her get stabbed by one of the girl ghosts. And then he fails to light a match for way too long. Eventually he burns the house down. The house burning down is on the news, it's a big deal, and then 3 years pass. And the one girl that remains alive visits the apartment building that was built on the land where the murder house stood. She stays there in order to see her dead girlfriend that decided to stick around the area. So I guess it didn't matter that they burned the house down. The ghost could decide if they wanted to stay or leave. Cool. And at the very end, this is the best part in the worst way. Prepare yourselves, guys. It was all a game! And the mother is still alive! Everything you just saw was a game! What the hell were Brad and Ryan on when they wrote this episode? It takes a second to wrap your head around all this. So what? Everything that happened in the episode was in the game, I guess, aside from the beginning? So really the only thing that happened was the mother had trouble making a game because she didn't do any research before making it. So she did some research and made the game better. And now her son likes the game. That's all that happened in the episode. What a convoluted, weird game. I guess the objective was to burn the house down, I suppose? And the main character is her son, and she's also in the game, and she's like walking around talking to people about the game.
I'm designing a video game.
Guess you figured out a way to end the video game. It'll be a bestseller. I'm sure of it.
And she put that stuff in the game. So she put herself as a character in her own game, walking around researching stuff about American Horror Story to make the game better in her own game. What? Oh my God, it's like my brain is going to explode. This is so stupid. It's so bad. I can't believe it. It's like this might be the dumbest piece of media I've ever consumed. And why would her son like this game if the game is just the mother walking around researching stuff about Murder House? Unless, of course, that wasn't in the game, because they're never clear about what's in the game and what isn't. And of course, there's a little Easter egg at the end. The mysterious red ball rolls onto the floor in their home. Another reference that you'd totally not understand unless you watched a previous season. And this also makes zero sense because the house didn't burn down in the real world because the mom is still alive. Unless that's her ghost at the end, which is weird because the girlfriend ghost said all the other ghosts decide to leave. And then you have to ask yourself, how does a ghost develop a video game? Oh my God. They're just so unclear about so much stuff in this episode. It's so funny. I can't believe it. Anyway, let me know what you thought of this episode or this show in general in the comment section down below. I have to say that so far, like the vampire thing in the current season double feature is stupid, but it's a step up from Apocalypse. And I didn't bother finishing 1984 because the first couple episodes were so boring and uninteresting and they weren't compelling at all. It's just like your basic slasher. There was nothing creative about it, so I just skipped that season. But hear me out. Right now, while I'm recording this, it is September 4th. I promise you, by the time the season ends, it will be so much worse. That's just what I'm expecting. I might be wrong. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to all my patrons. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.